At exactly 3:07 a.m., Eleanor's phone vibrated once on the nightstand. No ringtone. No notification bubble. Just a new folder sitting silently in her gallery, titled Play Me. Inside, it was a single link to a playlist with 47 videos. She hadn't touched her phone. She hadn't signed in. The thumbnail on the first video showed a shaky frame of a dark alley, with a figure looking straight into the camera, eyes wide, terrified, like they didn't know they were being recorded until the very end. Eleanor sat up, heart thudding. She hadn't clicked anything yet. But the video auto-played. A man's voice cracked through the silence. "You're the only one who can stop this." The voice trembled, strained, like it was trying not to cry. "I don't have time to explain. I'm sorry." Then silence. Then a scream, muffled, distant, as though underwater. Eleanor flinched, hit pause, but the video kept playing. That was the first fracture. The moment her soul slipped sideways. The future had found her, and it was already bleeding into the now. The silence afterward was worse than the video. Eleanor sat motionless, unsure if she had truly heard what she thought she had. She checked her inbox, her notifications, her call logs. Nothing. No number, no message. The link had appeared without origin. The phone screen remained on, slightly dimmed now, as if waiting for her next move. She reached to close it again, hesitated, then swiped to the next video. The thumbnail chilled her. Someone she knew. Not well. Not anymore. A teacher from high school who vanished 3 years ago. Eleanor blinked. Was this a sick joke? A deepfake? But the image in the thumbnail looked recent. It wasn't just the face. It was the timestamp. It said 3 days from now. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Some invisible string pulled her closer. She whispered into the empty room. "What is this?" But something inside her already knew. This wasn't a dream. This was a warning. The video begins without sound. A wide shot of a train platform. The woman from the thumbnail stands near the yellow line, clutching a paper bag, eyes darting. No one else seems to notice her. Then, she steps forward, hesitates, then turns around. The footage cuts. Eleanor rewinds. Plays. Again. It's not a loop. The video cuts before something happens. She feels nauseous. Her memory of that teacher, Mum's arrow, comes back sharp and painful. A kind voice. A defender during a difficult year. Her disappearance was the first real mystery Eleanor ever encountered. Everyone said suicide, but there was no body. And now here she was, very much alive, or about to be. "This isn't possible," Eleanor whispered. The phone vibrated again. A new video added to the playlist, one that hadn't been there before. It was titled, "You Were There." Eleanor's heart beat too loud for her to hear her own breath. She tapped the new video. Static. Then, her own voice. Not current. Younger. Much like it had been lifted from a forgotten voicemail. "Nims Harrow, I know what you did. You should have told someone." The screen stayed black. Then it flickered to a still image. Eleanor's teenage face in a reflection, crying. "No, no, no," she muttered. This wasn't just surveillance. This was memory. Someone had access to more than her past. They were reconstructing it. Twisting it. Her hands shook as she backed out of the video, but the screen froze. The voice, her voice, kept playing. "You can't run from this forever." Eleanor slammed the phone down. The light from the screen glowed through the sheets. Like something alive. Eleanor tried to delete the playlist. Long press. Nothing. Nothing. Drag to trash. Nothing. The folder was unresponsive. She powered off the phone. When it restarted, the folder was still there, top of the gallery, unchanged. She tapped. Info. No metadata. No size. No creation date. It simply existed. Like it always had. That's when she noticed the playlist name had changed. It no longer read Play Me. Now it said, Confess. Her stomach dropped. A faint buzz, like whispering just outside her door, began to rise. She stood slowly, scanning the room. There was no one there. But she didn't feel alone. Not anymore. Her phone buzzed again. One new video. No thumbnail. Just a title. He dies if you don't watch. Her hands clenched. She didn't press play. But she knew she would. The future was watching her now. And it wasn't going to stop. Eleanor didn't leave her bed the next day. What? Curtains drawn. Phone on the floor. It was the kind of silence that rots at the edges. The kind you don't notice until it's already inside you. Outside, the world moved. Cars passed. Dogs barked. But inside her apartment, it was as if time refused to continue. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. Her eyes remained open even when she blinked. The image of Miss Harrow, alive and afraid, looped behind her eyes. The phrase, "You were there," echoed like a threat and an accusation. Eleanor hadn't thought about that winter in years. Not since the case went cold. She'd buried it all, because no one wanted to believe her. But now the past was clawing back, pixel by pixel. Eleanor whispered into the dark, "What did I forget?" But she already knew. She hadn't forgotten. She'd chosen not to remember. And the playlist wasn't letting her get away with it anymore. She woke up sometime after sunset. Not sure when. The room was darker, but the phone screen still glowed faintly on the floor, never going black. Eleanor reached down, hesitant, and picked it up. The newest video had a title. The Snow Day. Her stomach twisted. That phrase was carved into her memory like an old scar. She tapped play. No sound. Just grainy footage of a snow-covered schoolyard. Children playing. Then a slow zoom to a teenage girl sitting alone on the swings, coat too thin. Eyes down, skin pale. Eleanor whispered, "That's me." A shadow moved behind the girl. Not a person, just a shape. The video stopped. Static overtook the screen. She felt nauseous. This wasn't surveillance. This was memory. But filmed from an angle she had never seen. The camera wasn't documenting. It was remembering. Someone else had been watching her back then. Watching and waiting. Eleanor began pulling out old boxes from her closet, hands trembling. Journals, yearbooks, taped up shoeboxes, things she hadn't touched in years. Somewhere, deep inside one, she found a photo she didn't remember taking. Miss Harrow, smiling, standing beside young Eleanor during a snowstorm, both of them in front of the school gate. Eleanor's smile was forced. Tight, tall. But it was the background that caught her eye. A man, half out of frame. Blurred. Watching. Hoi. Her breath hitched. She flipped the photo over. One word in faint ink. Soon. That's when she heard the chime. Not from her phone, but her laptop. It had turned on by itself. A window was open. The playlist was there now too, synced across her devices. She stared at the screen. A new title appeared. She didn't disappear. She ran. The implication landed hard. Someone had lied about Miss Harrow's disappearance. Maybe it had been Miss Harrow herself. The next video loaded before she could stop it. It opened on a dim motel room, the kind with paper-thin walls and ancient TVs. A woman sat hunched on the bed, older, eyes sunken, wearing a hoodie pulled low. She looked up into the lens slowly. It was Miss Harrow, .1. Aged. Exhausted. Still alive. She spoke softly. "If you're seeing this, I didn't make it. Not where I was trying to go." Her voice cracked. "You were never supposed to know, but now that you do, I need you to listen. I left because of what I saw, what I recorded." She held up a flash drive. "Don't trust them, Eleanor. Don't trust anyone who tells you it was your fault." The video cut out suddenly. No context. No ending. Eleanor sat frozen. Her hands were cold. She whispered, "Who was I supposed to trust?" But there was no answer. Just a loading bar, preparing the next video. Eleanor locked her phone in the kitchen drawer, unplugged her laptop, turned off the Wi-Fi. It didn't matter. The playlist was in her now. Every title, every frame, title. She could feel it pressing behind her eyes like an unwanted memory surfacing. And worse, it had started to change. Some of the older videos now had new titles. Lie 1, Lie 2, Lie 3. As if the files were rewriting themselves. Reordering the truth. She turned to the mirror, half expecting her reflection to glitch. It didn't. But it looked different. Hollow. Like it knew something she didn't. The house creaked. A soft knock at the door made her flinch. She checked the peephole. No one. But there on the ground was a package. No return address. No postage. Just her name written in red marker. She didn't open it. She already knew. It would contain another video. And this one would tell her what she did. Eleanor didn't go to the police. She went to someone worse. Her old coworker Nathan was listed in one of the videos. Video #19. She remembered it now. They used to work the same late shift before he suddenly quit. Back then he seemed paranoid, jumping at every buzz, whispering about recordings no one else could see. She thought he was unstable. Now, she wasn't so sure. She found him working at a scrapyard outside town. Dull, drier, tile, thinner, nim. But when he saw her, he paled. "No," he said, backing away. "You're not supposed to be here." Eleanor held up her phone. "It sent me the videos." Nathan's eyes darted toward the shadows. "Did you watch all of them?" She shook her head. He whispered, "Then you still have time. Don't finish the playlist." "Why?" Eleanor asked. He didn't answer. He just turned and ran. Eleanor stood there alone, the phone in her hand vibrating again. Another video. Another crime. That night, her laptop screen blinked awake. No touch. No prompt. Just alive. The playlist was already open. The next title read, "The Door You Never Opened." Eleanor clicked, almost against her will. The footage showed her own hallway, but darker. Older. Not a child's drawing taped to the wall she no longer had. The camera turned. A door at the end of the hall. One she didn't recognize. She paused the video, heart racing. The angle was impossible. It was filmed from inside her house. And not recently. She was younger in the footage. The date stamp read, 2011. Her finger hovered over pause again, but a voice, her voice, cut in. "Don't open that door, you're not ready." The screen glitched violently. Then, black. Eleanor stood up slowly and walked to the hallway. There was no door where the video had shown. But she swore for a second she heard something behind the wall. Breathing. Eleanor couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the video, frame by frame, trying to catch something she missed. In one freeze frame, she noticed a reflection in a glass photo frame on the hallway wall. Someone else was in the shot, standing just out of reach. A figure with no face. She thought maybe it was corrupted data, maybe a shadow. But then she went to the hallway and found the photo frame. The same angle, the same lighting, and the reflection matched. Except, she was alone now. The figure wasn't there, but in the video, it was. She opened her phone and recorded herself standing in the same position. Played it back. There it was again. Behind her. Not a trick of the light. Not an illusion. It had never left. It was just waiting for her to notice. The video added itself to the playlist. No title. Just a thumbnail. Eleanor with something standing behind her. She took the photo frame and smashed it, glass scattering across the hallway floor. But nothing changed. The figure was still in the recording. She backed away, shaking. "You're not real," she whispered. But it felt like a lie. Eleanor grabbed her old hard drive, the one she hadn't used since college, and plugged it in. A folder she didn't recognize was already there. Archived futures. Inside, screenshots. Every crime scene from the playlist. Every victim, including one she hadn't seen yet. A man's body in a parking garage. Shot twice. Eleanor zoomed in and nearly dropped the mouse. Her handwriting on the victim's wrist. Don't lie. She hadn't seen this one yet, but it was coming. She checked the folder's metadata. Created 6 years ago. Modified last night. She sat back, breathing shallow. Someone, or something, was rewriting her history. Or worse, recording it before it even happened. She went outside for the first time in days. Just to breathe. Just to escape the screens. The night air was sharp, but quiet. Too quiet. As she stood on the curb, she saw something down the block. A car she didn't recognize. Windows dark. Engine off. But it had been there yesterday too. And the day before. She approached cautiously. No plates. Just dirt smudges where they should be. Then, her phone vibrated. One new video. No title. It began autoplaying as she walked back inside. The camera panned across a street. Her street. It zoomed in. On her. Tonight. Tot. Same clothes. Same angle. Filmed from inside the parked car. She turned around, slowly. The car was gone. No sound. No engine. Just gone. Eleanor staggered backward. Someone wasn't just watching. They were following the script. And the script was always one step ahead of her. The next video nearly broke her. It didn't start with static or footage or timestamp. It started with a face. Her face. Eleanor stood in a parking garage, looking directly into the lens. Eyes red, expression blank. In her hand was a pistol. She watched herself step over a body without flinching. Then she leaned down, whispered something into the camera, and walked away. The feed ended. Eleanor's hands were shaking. She checked the video date. It was marked tomorrow. She'd never held a gun in her life. Never even touched one. But there she was. No mask. No fear. No hesitation. She whispered, "This isn't me." But deep down, some part of her already knew. Maybe it had always been her. The version of herself no one else had seen. The part she kept buried. The playlist wasn't showing her the future anymore. It was showing her what she had hidden from herself. Eleanor traced the crime scene from the video. She didn't know how she knew where to go. She just did. The garage was real. Downtown. Empty. Empty. Quiet. The same flickering light above stall 17. Same exit signs. Same shadows. She stood where her future self had stood. No gun. No body. Not yet. But her chest tightened. She heard her own voice in her head whispering, "This is where it happens." Her phone buzzed again. Another video labeled 1 hour. It showed her walking out of the garage, blood on her hands, face calm. Eleanor dropped the phone. It clattered across the pavement, the screen cracked but still playing. She staggered backward, gripping her coat. "Why would I do this?" she muttered. She had no enemies. No reason. And yet, she recognized that face in the video. Not a stranger. Not a future version. It was her. Unfiltered. Unafraid. She returned home and found her front door ajar. Her breath caught. She'd locked it. Always locked it. She stepped inside slowly. No signs of forced entry. Why? No one in sight. But the air was wrong charged. On the kitchen table sat the package she hadn't opened. Now, It was unwrapped. Inside, an old digital camcorder. Dusty, blinking red. She pressed play. The tape showed her, maybe 17, crying on the floor of her childhood bedroom. Behind her stood Miss Harrow. Why, not comforting her. Filming her. "Tell the truth," Harrow said calmly. "I did," young Eleanor sobbed. "I told them everything." "No," Harrow replied. "You told them what they wanted to hear." The screen cut to black. Eleanor stood frozen. She had no memory of that conversation. But it wasn't a lie. It wasn't a dream. The past wasn't just haunting her. It was reconstructing itself without her consent. Eleanor found the courage to watch the next file, Confession, Draft 1. It opened with her, present day, seated at a table under harsh light. No background. No voice. Just her looking into the camera. She didn't remember filming it. But the woman in the video did. "I lied," Video Eleanor said. "When they asked what happened to Harrow, when they asked where the tape was, I told them I didn't know. But I did." She leaned closer to the camera. "And if you're watching this, you're finally ready to hear it." Eleanor felt her stomach twist. She had blacked it out. Not metaphorically, literally. Suppressed memory. Hidden evidence. And somewhere inside her she felt it click. Harrow didn't vanish. Harrow ran, Dottie. Because she was trying to hide what Eleanor knew. Or what Eleanor did. "I wasn't the victim," she whispered aloud. "I was the reason she disappeared." The final video in the act auto-played before she could stop it. It had no timestamp. No title. Just motion. The footage showed Eleanor, barefoot, walking down a quiet suburban street under fogged streetlights. She held something in her hand. The image was too blurry to tell what. As the camera zoomed closer, her face came into focus, tear-streaked but focused. The video suddenly cut to black. Then a single phrase appeared in white. "This is the only way it ends." She dropped the phone. This wasn't just prophecy. It was instruction. A script. Ticked. One she didn't remember agreeing to. But it didn't matter. The future wasn't asking her anymore. It was telling her. Her identity, fractured, buried, rearranged, was unraveling before her eyes. And behind every video, every lie, every missing memory, was a truth she could no longer run from. She wasn't the witness. She was the story. The video labeled "Final Entry" appeared without warning. No vibration. No preview. Just a still black screen with her reflection faintly visible. Eleanor tapped it. It opened on a live feed. Not recorded. Streaming. From a camera mounted in the parking garage. Stall 17. A digital clock in the corner counted down. 0:54:19. The scene was empty. For now. But something about it made her chest tighten. The message beneath the feed read, "You have until this ends. Then it becomes irreversible." She didn't know what it was. A murder? A confession? A collapse? She just knew the clock was ticking, and whatever came after would not let her go back. Eleanor stared at herself in the laptop's dark screen. She didn't recognize the woman looking back. Not because she'd changed, but because she was finally seeing her. The version without denial. Without excuses. Without escape. Eleanor returned to the garage. She didn't bring a weapon. She didn't bring her phone. She brought the camcorder, the one from the package. Fully charged now. Her boots echoed with every step across the concrete. The lights buzzed above, same flicker, same cold. She stepped into stall 17 and placed the camcorder on the hood of a nearby car, facing her. It began recording. This time, it was her behind the lens. She whispered, "This ends with me." Then she waited. The clock was down to 10 minutes. No sound. No movement. But inside her, chaos raged. Memory fragments collided, her voice on the old tape, the screaming Miss Harrow vanishing into static. She took a breath and whispered into the dark, "I know what I did." She didn't expect a response. But one came. A single voice from behind her. "Then say it." She turned slowly. There, in the shadows, stood Miss Harrow. Older. Pale. Real. Not a video. Not a ghost. "You came back," Eleanor said, her voice cracking. Harrow nodded. "You called me here." Eleanor shook her head. "I didn't know." "But you remembered," Harrow replied. "You buried it so deep, but the truth waits. Always." Eleanor took a step forward. "I didn't mean to lie." "You didn't," Harrow said gently. "But you let others believe what they wanted, and that silence became the story." The clock on the camera blinked red. 5 minutes left. Eleanor whispered, "Can I change it?" Harrow studied her. "Not what happened, but what happens next." Eleanor clenched her fists. She realized now, it wasn't about stopping the crime. It was about admitting she was part of it. And that truth wasn't about innocence. It was about accountability. Eleanor stepped back into the light, facing the camcorder. Miss Harrow watched from the shadows. "I lied," Eleanor said, her voice shaking. "Not with words, but with silence. I let you take the blame. I let everyone forget." Her voice grew louder. "I saw the footage. I knew what was on that drive. I knew you were right to run." The words spilled out, unburdened. "And I knew they would come for you if they ever saw it." She reached into her coat and pulled out the flash drive, scratched, corroded, but intact. She placed it on the car hood beside the camera. "I saved it all, but I saved myself first." Miss Harrow stepped forward and picked it up. "Then you're ready." Eleanor didn't understand. But she didn't ask. Not anymore. The final seconds ticked down. 3, 2, 1. The screen on the camcorder blinked. Recorded. The camcorder shut off with a soft click. Eleanor exhaled, shoulders slumping. Harrow pocketed the flash drive and walked toward the exit. No words. No judgment. Just a nod, as if to say, "Now it's yours." Eleanor stayed behind. The playlist was gone from her phone when she got home. The folder deleted. The videos erased. But the silence was louder now. Heavier. Final. Me. That night, she sat in the same chair where it all began. No videos. No warnings. Just the knowledge of what she had done. And what she had allowed. Outside, the same unmarked car rolled past again. Slower, this time. Watching. She didn't flinch. "You don't own me anymore," she whispered. The lights flickered. But nothing happened. For the first time in weeks, she slept. No dreams. Just quiet. Just consequence. Not peace, but something honest enough to bear. Eleanor woke to silence. Not the haunting kind from before, but a different one. Heavier. She checked her phone. The folder was gone. Not hidden. Not glitched. Erased. She opened her laptop. Blank. No files. No trace. As if the videos had never existed. But she knew better. They had done their work. The evidence may be gone, but the truth remained. Every word she said. Every moment she confessed. Still, inside her, she moved to the mirror. Her reflection looked different. Not younger. Not older. Just honest. The weight had shifted. Not lifted, but moved somewhere deeper where it couldn't be ignored anymore. She whispered, "You're still here, aren't you?" No one answered. But she didn't need one. Because the playlist didn't want revenge. It wanted revelation. And now that it had it, the story could rest. But it didn't promise peace. Later that day, they came. Not police. Not detectives. 2 people in plain clothes. They knocked once, didn't smile. One held a manila folder. "We're following up on a report you filed a long time ago," he said. Eleanor blinked. I never filed a report. The woman beside him raised an eyebrow. Not officially, but we believe you had evidence, once. Eleanor stepped aside and let them in. The living room was cold. She handed them the flash drive. No ceremony. Just truth. I think this is what you're looking for, she said. They exchanged a look. No questions. No accusations. Just a small nod. The woman slipped it into her coat. You did the right thing, she said. Eleanor didn't respond. Because sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel like anything. It just leaves you emptied. Lighter in one hand, heavier in the other. They didn't take her in. They didn't ask for a statement. They simply left. Eleanor sat on the couch, waiting for something. Sirens, headlines, rage. None came. That's what surprised her most. The justice didn't scream. It whispered. She walked outside for the first time in weeks and found the world unchanged. Children on bikes. Wind in the trees. No sign that anything had shifted, but inside her, everything had. She walked down the street and saw the parking garage from a distance. Cold. Still. The camcorder was gone. The stall had been cleaned. It looked like it had never happened. And maybe that was the point. The truth wasn't for headlines. It was for her. Eleanor stared for a moment longer, then turned away. I'm still here, she whispered. It wasn't defiance. It was a vow. That night, she received a voicemail. No caller ID. Just a voice. Familiar. Mal. Ms. Harrow. Pu. You did more than they'll ever know, it said. But you also did less than you could have. Both are true. And both have to live beside each other now. The message ended with a pause. Then, I forgive you. Even if you can't. Eleanor sat frozen. Tears welled, but didn't fall. Forgiveness wasn't what she wanted. It felt like mercy when what she deserved was consequence. But maybe Harrow had always known that. Maybe forgiveness was the burden now. Not hers to offer, but hers to carry. The next morning, she deleted the voicemail. Not out of shame, but choice. Because if the truth was hers now, so was the silence that followed. And silence at last was something she could live with. Weeks passed. No more messages. No more footage. Eleanor began to reclaim the ordinary. Laundry, grocery lists, mundane emails. But beneath every act, the weight lingered. She walked differently. Spoke slower. Saw more. One afternoon, she visited a bookstore. In the back, past the nonfiction shelves, she found a journal. The cover was blank. She bought it. At home, she wrote one sentence on the first page. I was there. Then closed it. That was enough. She didn't need to write the rest. The playlist had ended. But her life hadn't. The cost of truth was silence, yes, but also sight. She saw herself now, fully, and in that reflection, broken but real, she found something that felt like the beginning. Not a clean slate, just an honest one. 3 years later, Eleanor was free. Not forgiven, not forgotten, but free. The case surrounding Ms. Harrow had gone quiet. No trial, no closure. Just a bureaucratic shrug and a buried flash drive. Eleanor had moved. Changed her name. Found a job cataloging damaged archival footage for a university. No one asked questions. And she liked it that way. Quiet rooms. Dim lighting. Nothing live. Only the past, safe, static, incomplete. She lived small now. She answered only to the voice inside her. The one that still whispered on some mornings, it didn't have to happen this way. But she never spoke back. She simply sat with it. Because that voice wasn't her enemy anymore. It was her record. And some records don't beg for rewrites. They just need someone to carry them. That morning, something was waiting in her locker. A padded envelope. No return address. Inside, A phone. Unlocked. No contacts. No apps. Just one folder. No name. But Eleanor didn't need a name. She knew what it was. Her hands went cold. She turned it off. Took it home. Locked it in a drawer. For 3 days, she didn't touch it. Then one night, unable to sleep, she powered it on. The playlist was already open. One video. Just one. Its thumbnail showed a young man, barely 20, standing at the edge of a rooftop. Eleanor recognized the skyline. It was only a few blocks from where she lived now. The title read, "He hasn't jumped yet." She stared at it for a long time. Not watching. Just witnessing. Like she had before. Only now she wasn't sure if she was supposed to stop it, or document it. She found the rooftop. It wasn't hard. Same ledge. Same skyline. Same moment suspended in time. But the boy wasn't there. Not yet. She waited. Minutes passed. Then, footsteps. He arrived. Alone. Wearing a hoodie too large for his frame. He walked slowly to the edge, glanced once over the city. Then, down. Eleanor stepped forward. Not fast. Not loud. Just present. "You don't have to," she said. The boy didn't turn. "I already did," he replied. "In the video. Didn't you see?" She nodded. "But that's just one version. Isn't it the real one?" he asked. "It's a real one," Eleanor said. "But you're still here. That's what matters." The boy said nothing. The wind carried silence between them. And for the first time in a long time, Eleanor felt something she thought she'd buried. Choice. He didn't jump. He didn't speak. He just turned eventually, and walked past her, eyes hollow, shoulders hunched. She didn't follow. She just watched him leave. Then she sat on the ledge herself, legs dangling. The phone in her pocket buzzed once. A new video had been added. The thumbnail was blank. No image. Just static. Its title, Next? She didn't open it. She didn't delete it either. The playlist had returned, yes, but it was different now. Not a curse. Not a trap. Just a mirror. And mirrors don't tell the future. They show what's already inside. Eleanor smiled, just slightly. She whispered, "I know what you are now." And the playlist didn't reply. Because it didn't have to. She closed the phone. Slipped it back into her pocket. The night stretched ahead, long and quiet. She didn't go home. She stayed a while longer, watching the city breathe. She left the rooftop just before dawn. The streets were empty. The kind of empty that feels chosen, not abandoned. As she walked past shuttered shops and flickering street lamps, the phone vibrated once more. A message this time. Just a line of text. It never ends, does it? Eleanor stopped. Smiled. Not wide. Not warm. Just honest. She typed back a single reply. "No. But neither do we." Then she powered the phone off and dropped it into a trash bin. No drama. No fire. Just finality. The sun crept up behind the buildings, bathing the concrete in gold. Eleanor walked forward, no destination. Because endings weren't really endings. Not for people like her. They were just the last scene in someone else's playlist. And now, at last, she was done watching. Whatever came next, it would be hers.